Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we will compare two ultra-wide angle lenses for Sony E mount. It's for APSC cameras, and it will be Laowa 9mm F2.8 and Sony 11mm F1.8. From the very beginning you can see that Laowa is visibly smaller lens, but it's heavier on 40 grams, so it's kind of interesting. On the 11mm you have AF and manual focus switch. You have focus hold button. You've got a nice rubber gasket in the mount of the lens, so it's a weather sealed lens. You've got a 55mm filter thread, and it's made full of plastic and glass. This plastic is kind of hard, so it's you can feel it as a very nice made lens. And you've got a manual focus ring, and it works smoothly and gently. On the other hand, Laowa is of course a little bit smaller. It has a 49mm filter thread. It's f2.8, so it's a darker lens. It has no weather sealing on the mount, as you can see in the back of the lens, and it has two rings. It's an aperture ring and it's a focusing ring, and this focus ring is not so smooth and not so gently as on the 11mm from Sony, but it's very accurate, so you can easily adjust right point of the focus. So we will take a look in this comparison if the 9mm is a huge difference to the 11mm. I think that both lenses are kind of good ultra-wide angle lenses, and the Laowa main point is that it's a zero distortion, so we will see the straight lines through the whole image. I will test both lenses on my Sony APS-C camera. It's going to be Sony A6700. I will also check how these lenses works with active steady shot, because it's a very nice feature you have in A6700. We have to say that Laowa actually is the widest lens available on Sony APS-C line, so it's a huge point for this lens, but I'm going to check if this thing that it's the widest is enough to win with Sony 11mm in this point. So from the very beginning we will check the range of both lenses. So we will compare 9mm to 11. So right now we can see Laowa, you can see the edges, how it looks, and now we can see Sony 11mm, so we can easily see that 11mm is not so wide as 9. It's a kind of visible difference. It's not a amazingly huge difference, but it's a visible difference, and it can change for some kind of people. Now let's take a look side by side how the wide difference it is. Personally, I feel like it's that Sony is not 11, but I feel like it's like 10.5, something like that. I see the difference. The difference is maybe not so huge, but it's visible. And the second thing we will check is the sun stars that lenses are going to produce for us. And personally, I think that the stars are maybe similar, but we can see a little bit difference in maybe some contrast or something like that, and then Sony star looks a little bit better, but at least they are kind of similar. And let's take a look on a vignetting. So we can see a vignetting on Laowa at f2.8, but at least it's not so strong vignetting, and you will be easily able to deal with that in a Lightroom or any kind of post processing, and in the Sony 11mm the camera correction was on, so we had at least no problem with that. And I'm going to mention here also about distancing of these lenses. So the Laowa is 9, and if you want to get the same perspective with Sony 11, you need to pull back about 5% of the distance to your subject. And right now I think that we are going to take a look on the most interesting part, on the sharpness of these lenses. I see that both of these lenses are kind of sharp, but I feel like Sony has more contrast. Like here you can see that I pull up the contrast in Laowa, and then it looks much better, and then the difference was not so big, but at least for me Sony is a little bit sharper. We don't have to lie anything right now, but Laowa is still pretty good, but has a little bit less contrast, so then you can see like it's more flat or something like that, or something like you would use some kind of flat profile picture. And right now F1.8 versus F2.8 from Laowa, so now we can see that this difference is kind of huge, and then I corrected with my shutter speed about give 1.3 equivalent of light. And now let's see side by side. Laowa is visibly darker because 2.8 is a kind of big difference instead of F1.8, so you have to deal with that. I know that F2.8 can be far enough for some kind of inside real estate or something like that, or some landscape, because we're going to a 5.6 or 5.8. Okay, now let's take a look of the active steady shot test. I was just walking randomly, handling a camera in my hand. Now we've got stabilization standard, so it's the sensor stabilization in a Sony camera and with Sony 11. And right now we have active steady shot, and look that it works beautifully. So I think that Sony A6700 and Sony 11 matches perfectly in terms of stabilization. And now let's take a look on the Laowa. You can also see that this flatness right here, because it looks like it has almost no contrast. It's kind of flat in the shadows or very bright in the shadows, but you can work with that. And at the same time, look that Laowa has more flares and ghosting in the corners especially. And it's also, now we've got a standard stabilization, and right now we will go to a active steady shot. And this active steady shot with Laowa lens, which is not native lens for Sony, already doesn't look so good, and now we can see some kind of shakiness. And let's take a closer look side by side. And right now we can see that Sony also has more colors, looks more naturally. Laowa is like something like a flat profile or very low contrast. So I think that you would have to work a little bit on the image in post-production. And right now we have standard stabilization in both of images. And in this moment we are going to an active steady shot. So you can see clearly that 11mm works better in here. Laowa is not so clear and a little bit still shaky. And the last but not least, as the classic says, is a minimum focus distance. So here is the Laowa minimum focus distance at f2.8. Here is the Sony minimum focus distance, so it's clearly better. You can also get more bokeh on 11mm with Sony, as you can see right now. So if that is important for you, just easily you can choose Sony. And at the end, I would like to show you how I deal with focusing in a manual way. I just make a custom button C2 for zooming in, and then I'm working with this manual focus ring, and I found that maybe it's not so fast as autofocus in a 11mm, but in general, if you would like to get this lens, this kind of combo can easily let you focus in a kinda 3 to 5 seconds and you are done. So it's I think that it's not so bad. So guys, for today I think this is all what I've got for you. Let me know in the comment section which lens you would like to get, which lens is better for you. In this moment I will have these two lenses. I don't know which one I will say. It's hard to say that today for me, but I will also make more compare in the future, and I will decide and will let you know. So thank you for watching, comment and subscribe. Thank you.